Legends were born and killed in the Battle of the Alamo, but what they failed to reckon was that legends never die. Did Davy Crockett really die on a mountain of Mexican soldiers? Or did he surrender into the arms of his enemy and survive? Find out the answers to these questions and more on this episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Solved! Hello and welcome back, everybody. It's another beautiful, glorious, mysterious Saturday. I am your ever humble host, Cassandra Cherry, and with me, as always, is the magnificent Dr. Chad Kimmons, wild man of the Midwestern interior frontier. How are you, Chad?
What?
I turned it around. You always do the thing to me, so now I get to
what
do
is
it to
the
you.
Midwest? What is the Midwestern frontier interior? What did you say? Midwestern
Yes.
Interior frontier?
Yes. Yeah, Midwestern
what is
interior
that?
frontier. Well, we're both in the Midwest, and it's thematic because we're in the interior of the Midwest, and it's the interior of the country, but it's a frontier. You know?
I thought you meant like inside.
Yes.
Like wild man of his own apartment in the Midwest.
Exactly. That's what we're going
Yeah. I got people coming in trying to hunt me, like Bigfoot, all the time.
Just people being like, "Here's your package, sir. Wait, is that a gun, or are you just happy to see me?"
Just beating them off with both hands. That didn't come out right.
I literally spat my tea all over my soundproofing.
Well,
Ah.
I was like fully committed to that when I realized what I was saying. So
And like it's actually really pretty. Like the kind of gold, like little droplets all over everything. It makes it sparkle.
oh, you're talking about your book? I thought you meant the fucking beating people off.
No.
Jesus Christ!
I spat out my tea because your joke was funny.
Yeah, I know, and it took me a minute to realize that's what you meant.
What did you think I meant?
Well, the last thing mentioned was the joke.
Yes.
So I thought you were talking about the joke was really pretty, and I was like, no, it's not. What the fuck are you on?
I'm on that great good old ADHD goblin brain apparently, and I need to get rid of the. Where's the paper towel? There it is.
Jesus fucking Christ, Cass.
If I don't clean it up, I'm gonna keep getting distracted by how pretty it is.
Giving you access to the TikTok might have been a mistake.
What do you mean giving me access to the TikTok was a mistake?
It's not like I could have kept you out of it anyway. You had the password to the email, so.
I didn't until you gave it back to me again.
For the sake of the joke, you did, Cass.
Oh yeah, that's right, we're making jokes. That's true. That's true. You can't keep me out of anything. I own the whole house now.
Whose house? I don't have a house.
Apartments are houses, right?
No, they're apartments.
It's a living space.
Whatever.
Okay. All right. I can focus again. It's not as pretty as it was.
So, what are we talking about today, Cass? Why did I say it like that?
Because that's the way I've been talking. And you're
Well, yuck.
mirroring me.
Mirroring me? You're mirroring.
Yeah, you're mirroring.
When can you ever?
Huh?
When can you ever?
Never. Ever.
I don't think there's been an episode yet where you haven't said I can't English or I can't word or English is not a real language. I gotta stop interrupting you.
Why?
Because we're never gonna get this shit recorded if I don't.
Fuck. Yeah, we're just too good on these tangents. Okay, so.
These aren't even tangents. This is just us bullshitting.
But we're having a good time, and that's what counts.
There's nothing for it to be a tangent of yet.
Okay. All right. So, okay, we gotta have an episode. We gotta do the episode. The episode is in our hands. But, okay, so, speaking of all that, what?
I was thinking, so stop talking about it and do it.
I'm trying to get my brain to refocus on it. There's not been enough coffee. There was too much milk and creamer in it. Anyways, it was like a latte, but a shitty latte. Alright, so, getting back into it. Right. So, what I was sort of inspired to talk about today via last episode when I had my, like, a little epiphany there for, like, a half second, is specifically Davy Crockett.
Okay. I do remember you saying something about Davy Crockett.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was an American folk hero, frontiersman, soldier, and a politician, commonly referred to in popular culture by the epithet King of the Wild Frontier. You know, like the song?
Yep.
Gosh, it's been so long. I watched the cartoon when I was like 5. But like, born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, greenest state in the land of the free, raised in the woods so he knew every tree, kilt him a bar, Baar, it's like spelt B''AR, Baar, when he was only 3.
So,
This f***ing song.
the line greenest land or greenest whatever in the land of the free. I think California, Northern California might want to have a word with that song.
Yeah, Northern California wants to have a word with Tennessee.
Or Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyway, continue.
Technically, they weren't part of the land of the free at this point in time, I don't think. But yeah.
I
What?
feel like since it was still, I think it was still unclaimed territory at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were the most free.
Honestly, yes. To be fair. But, so this guy, Davy Crockett, the song is all wrong. The song is so full of lies and fabrications. He was born in a small cabin beside the banks of the Nullichucky River. I probably butchered that. Forgive me, Tennesseans. But not on a mountaintop. He did not, in fact, kill a bear when he was only 3. He was called David, not Davy. But, you know, Disney and their market branding.
That'd be a hell of a feat if he killed a bear when he was 3.
Yeah, it's like, who gave that child a knife?
A knife!
No!
That was just a reenactment of Davy Crockett.
Literally.
That vine.
That vine is just like David Crockett, just going out to kill a bear. But I also feel like this is the previous generation's like hero, because I vaguely remember hearing about him in the same context. I remember hearing about Johnny Appleseed and John Bunyan, but that was
Yeah, because I think all of the quote tall tale people like that are based on real people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But none of it's quite as
Yeah.
Paul Bunyan and his Blue Ox and Johnny Railroad or whatever the fuck his name was.
He planted lots of apples.
No, I'm talking about the railroad. John Henry.
John Henry. I don't know that one actually.
Yeah, he was the black guy who was a slave and he could like lay a railroad by himself or some shit.
Oh, that's
I don't
super
remember the
cool.
Exact.
Yeah. Yeah, we have all these like folk heroes and legends and everything, and they haven't been taught to us youngins' generations. They skipped us. They thought, oh yeah, it's fine. Everyone knows who these people are. We don't remember anymore. But even though like the legend of the man himself, pretty much forgotten it in this generation, but more or less we still remember him, at least for the Alamo. At least he's still taught in history classes.
Okay.
So what do you remember from what you were given in your school learning?
Cass, that was so long ago.
What, you don't remember history classes?
I don't remember anything about the Alamo.
Oh no! The Texas as just a unit block rises up and screams, "Remember the Alamo!"
Clearly I didn't.
No. See, I remember the Alamo just because I was raised in Texas and we had like Texas history and they were horny about the Alamo. But to sum it all up, before we get down into the nitty-gritty, Texas was once the Mexican territory called Tejas.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of Americans left America to go down and populate Texas, Tejas, because they were giving out a lot of like free land if you would just go down and like serve there and everything. But since so many Americans went and filled up the place, they're like, you know what? We can be our own state, and then we can get back into the United States of America. So essentially, we're going to steal Tejas from Mexico by right of population and immigration.
So am I hearing this properly? That all these people who claim Texas heritage and how they're true Americans were fucking traitors?
Don't know about that. Like literally they left America, they went and populated Tejas, and then they staged a rebellion against Mexico for Texas independence. And then they were like, hey, America, can we be part of the Union, please?
Yeah, those motherfuckers left the Union, and then they...
It makes the whole long live the South thing, the whole Confederacy thing, make a little bit more sense. It's also why Texas is technically the only state who has the right to secede in their state constitution. And so the biggest, most important event, singular event, in the Texas rebellion against Mexico was the siege and the Battle of the Alamo.
Okay.
And essentially, to make a long story short there, you had a whole lot of really famous people in there, like David Crockett, Commander William Travis, James Bowie.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's along with several other
of
people.
Bowie knife fame.
Yes. And, they were laid siege to. They asked for reinforcements and never got them. And then Santa Anna, managed to break in on, the March 9th. Came in, absolutely slaughtered everyone. Down to the last man. There was... no one was allowed to survive, essentially.
Okay.
And so it's always been the thing that it was this horrible war atrocity that he just slaughtered all of these heroes. And it was taken up as the war cry for the entire rest of the revolution, remember the Alamo.
Okay.
And that rallied everyone to beat the out of the Mexicans.
Okay.
So, that's general context for the theory we're going into. But mostly it's about David Crockett himself, and how he might have survived. Or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
To know a little bit more about the man rather than the myth and the legend, he was a bit of a wild child growing up in the frontier. His father sold him into indentured servitude a good number of times to pay off the family debts, because the guy couldn't hold down a business without it getting destroyed by a flood.
Okay, wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So, first off...
We don't have time to unpack all that.
First off,
yeah.
He did this more than once?
Oh, yeah, more than once. I think the first time was when David Crockett was 12 years old.
Okay.
His father indentured him to this one guy named Jacob Seiler to help with the indebtedness, because he had loans from starting a business after his old one. He started a tavern after his mill got washed away.
Did the tavern then get washed away too? Because you said he couldn't hold down a business due to floods or something.
Basically, I don't know exactly what happened to the tavern, but Davy Crockett was indentured, paid off the debt, came back. His father wanted him to go to school. He decided, no, I'm a wild child. I'm gonna go be a cowboy again. And went off and did that, and then, apprenticed with a shoemaker. Or no, a hat maker, actually, for, 4 years. And came back when he was 17. And his father was like, hey, welcome back, son. Now, go be a servant to this other guy, and this other guy that I got debts to. Alright, you did that? Fantastic. You're free to go.
Alright, you did that? Well, the business that I had while you were in servitude to those guys, yeah, it went under. I don't know why I keep building these places in the middle of the freaking river. They keep getting washed away.
Yeah, I know. Crazy coincidence. But yeah, just a whole lot of that. And I don't think after that last time, Davy Crockett ever really saw his dad again, as far as I've heard.
Good.
He's just
He's a bad father.
Yeah. He's like, I'm tired of this. I'll see you later. Dang.
Do you think his dad told him something like, it builds character?
Probably. It builds character for you to work for your father in servitude like that. It's fine. You gotta have some filial piety. You know what I'm saying?
Everything when I was growing up, everything that was terrible in my life built character, apparently. And now I am a pansexual, religiously fluid pagan who hates cops. So I guess my parents did that to me.
There's your character. That's actually pretty cool. That's a glow up.
No, my parents were fine.
Okay.
Like, my parents weren't abusive or anything. Just anything bad that went wrong in my life. It was, it builds character.
Yeah, we don't need to get you anything like therapy. No, none of that.
Honestly,
shit. It just builds character.
Honestly, they
makes you stronger.
They did make me go to therapy.
Oh, that's good. Okay, but about 10 years after all that, David Crockett signed up with the Tennessee militia to fight in the Creek War after the Fort Mims massacre in that same year. And he served in both the Creek War and the War of 1812 that was being fought concurrently, but he didn't really actually fight so much as he was going hunting, foraging, and providing for the survival of his comrades.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what he really became well known for.
Okay.
But he was made a colonel in the militia of Lawrence County, Tennessee, where he was elected to the Tennessee State Legislature in 1821. And in 1827, he was elected to the U.S. Congress, where he vehemently opposed many of the policies of President Andrew Jackson, who was his superior officer in both those wars, though not directly.
Okay.
He especially opposed the Indian Removal Act, and was noted for his sympathy for and his friendship with the Native Americans. Unlike many Americans in that time, Crockett had made a conscious distinction between the Native Americans who had made war on them versus the ones who wanted to assimilate and who had been treated basically very unfairly and cruelly.
Gotcha.
So, it was actually a really famous and ballsy thing. Everything Andrew Jackson wanted to do, David Crockett was just like, no, I won't stand for it. And it cost him his defeat in the 1831 elections. He was re-elected in 1833, and during his election campaign for the 1835 term, he collaborated with Kentucky Congressman Thomas Chilton. It looks like Clinton, reads like Chillaton, I don't know why.
Okay.
To write his autobiography, which was published by E.L. Carey and A. Hart in 1834 as A Narrative of the Life of Davy Crockett, written by himself, which is where all the myths and legends of his life began to propagate. It was all propaganda.
Okay.
But
I mean, if I were going to write my own biography, I definitely wouldn't be like, yeah, so I went to 7 years of college and dropped out because I was an alcoholic. I'd be like, yeah, I went to 7 years. I had 7 years of college, but I had to drop out because I was on the dean's short list for just being too rad, brother. I was doing...
That's essentially what he did.
I was doing motorcycle stunts in the college swimming pool. Woo! Like, never ridden a motorcycle in my life.
Oh, jeez. Motorcycles are scary, you know? I'm very unbalanced just on my feet in regular life. I would be real bad on a motorcycle. I once crashed a moped and got a rock embedded in my
They tried to do Pirates of the Penzance, and I said, no, none of that fruity shit. I'm going to do a trapeze show. What? Sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I burned down the art building. Okay, I'm not proud of that one. Like, we lost a lot of really cool art in that fire.
Oh, no. Oh, jeez. Yeah, you're not wrong. That's essentially what the book was. And during the, right as the votes were getting tallied and tabulated and everything, and he was doing, this press tour in 1836, newspapers published the now famous quote attributed to Crockett upon his return to his home state, which is essentially, I told the people of my district that I would serve them as faithfully as I had done, but if not, they might go to hell, and I would go to Texas.
Alright,
and so he did. Crockett then angrily departed for Texas, at that point Tejas.
Angrily?
Yeah.
I'm just imagining him, stomping the whole, throwing a tantrum.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
whole fucking way. Just grumbling like Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, literally, though. He lost his election, and he learned that Andrew Jackson's chosen successor, Martin Van Buren, was gonna be elected as president. And he's like, F this, I'm out. Peace.
Razzle, frazzle, dazzle, prazzle.
Pretty much. But before leaving, Crockett put out the word for volunteers to fight in Texas, saying that he felt a revolution was soon to be at hand. He left with a company of 30 well-armed men on November 1st, 1835, And wait, the timeline is a little weird here. What?
I'm just 30 well-armed men, and they're like, we're gonna go fight all of Mexico.
Literally though, we're gonna fight all of Mexico. That's
how many they got? Like probably 6 million just in Mexico City alone. That's fine. We'll take them all. Yeehaw!
Well, part of the deal was they would get like 1,000 acres of land for pledging to fight in the war, and if they survived, that is a pretty good tract for them to like start a family ranch or something.
Oh, I know. It's just funny the way that in my brain.
I mean, fair and valid. They're pretty randy about it.
They were all, no, I gotta stop making nothing. I was gonna say they were all named Randy. I gotta stop making stupid fucking jokes, or we're never gonna make it through this.
No, it's fine. They're all Randy. It's just Randy 1, Randy 2,
They were all pretty Randy. Wait, I thought you said
very pretty.
One of his names was David. Did they just all change their names?
There was one David, and he was leading all the Randys.
It's like that scene where they're like, doctor, 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 except it's Randy, 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 Randy.
Yep. Exactly. But he and his took an oath of service in Nachodoches, or Nacogdoches. I don't know which one. I'm probably butchering that too. Texas on January 14th the next year, and then traveled south to their station in the Alamo at San Antonio.
Okay.
Or what would become San Antonio. So they got there just right on the new year, like a little bit into January. And shortly thereafter, they were taken by a surprise siege on February 23rd by Mexican General Santa Anna, and we all know what happened there. I talked about it earlier in the episode.
What happened? I'm kidding, obviously. I'm just fucking with you.
Replace everything I said in the beginning of the episode and fast forward.
What did you say happened? Wasn't it there was a revolution and people threw like tea in the harbor or something?
That was 1979, 69?
I'm sorry, 1979?
I don't know what year it was.
It was
I can't
50
math.
years ago?
1979? No, 1776. There it is.
It was like, really? Really, Cass? Is that the year you want to go with?
My brain's like, there's too many dates. I can't follow all the dates.
In protest of President Ronald Reagan, they threw tea into the harbor. And he was like, guys, we've already been through this like 200 years ago.
Oh, gosh. Oh, but you know, if they did that in Reagan's years or even today, they'd be like, that's rioting, looting, and pillaging. It's anti-American. It's like, but this is what we did. This is what we did.
It might not have been
Guys.
Reagan.
Huh?
It might not have been Reagan, but I'm looking it up on my phone. Oh, that was Carter.
Oh, Jimmy Carter! No one wants to rebel against Jimmy Carter. He was such a nice fella.
Carter would have just been like, "Yeah, I'm just as pissed as you guys. Here, I got some tea back here. You want to throw that in too?"
Yeah, he's just like comes up with like a tea tray, just like, "Here you are, fellas. Why don't you go on and enjoy yourselves right there?" Carter was just so chill.
All of this reminds me of this post I saw a while back.
Uh-huh.
Where somebody was like, wait, Americans don't have tea kettles? What do you do with your tea? Or how do you make your tea? And somebody replied with, we throw it in the harbor.
Not wrong. We microwave it in the harbor.
Anyway, okay.
How you may ask? With giant rays from the lasers in space.
Cass, I just said I needed to stop interrupting you and making stupid jokes, and you went ahead and let me make like 4 more. This is all your fault.
Oh, clearly. I'm not being an
idiot.
idiot
I
at
can't
all.
Control myself.
I can't control myself either, so we're in a dilemma here, buddy.
Thought you were gonna be like, I can't control yourself either.
I can't control yourself either. Like, does anyone know how to control any other sentient body in the universe?
Maybe. I don't know. We're getting way off. How did we get here?
Tea.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Jesus Christ.
Okay. Before everyone was summarily slaughtered, however, several messengers were sent to James Fannin, who commanded the group of Texas soldiers at Presidio La Bahia. That's Bahia. In Spanish, you don't pronounce the H's, so I'm very confused. In Goliad, Texas.
Right.
Fannin decided that it was too risky to reinforce the Alamo, although historian Thomas Ricks Lindley concluded that up to 50 of Fannin's men left his command to go to Bexar anyway. These men would have reached Cibolo Creek on the afternoon of March 3rd, 35 miles from the Alamo, where they joined another group of men who had also planned to join the garrison. There was a skirmish between Mexican and Texan troops around that same night outside the Alamo.
Okay.
Alamo survivor Susanna Dickinson said in 1876 that Commander Travis sent out 3 men shortly after dark on March 3rd, probably a response to the arrival of Mexican reinforcements. The 3 men, including Crockett, were sent to find Fannin. Lindley states that Crockett and one of the other men found the force of Texans waiting along Cibolo Creek just before midnight. They had advanced to within 20 miles of the Alamo. Just before daylight on March 4th, part of the Texan force managed to break through the Mexican lines and enter the Alamo.
Okay.
A second group was driven across the prairie by Mexican cavalry. So that's just a note in there of what Crockett was overdoing. And
now,
the siege...
remind me.
What?
The Alamo was not the battle that won Texas its independence.
No.
It was the battle that rallied everyone to win the independence. Okay.
Yeah, the battle that won Texas their independence was the Battle of San Jacinto, I think? Jacinto? Because there's a J and J's are pronounced as H's.
Yeah, Jacinto. San Jacinto.
Yeah. And I'll get to there, but this is the battle that was lost, that everyone's like, wow, f*** you guys.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Spite is a lovely motivating factor.
Oh, yeah.
But the siege ended on March 6th when the Mexican army attacked just before dawn while the defenders were sleeping. According to Dickinson, Crockett paused briefly in the chapel to say a prayer before running to his post. The Mexican soldiers climbed up the north outer walls of the Alamo complex, and most of the Texans fell back to the barracks and the chapel, as previously planned.
Okay.
Crockett and his men, however, were too far from the barracks to take shelter, and were the last remaining group to be in the open. They defended the low wall in front of the church, using their rifles as clubs and relying on knives, as the action was too furious to allow reloading. After a volley and a charge with bayonets, Mexican soldiers pushed the few remaining defenders back toward the church. The Battle of the Alamo lasted almost 90 minutes, and all of the defenders were killed. According to many accounts, between 5 and 7 Texans surrendered during the battle, possibly to General Castrillon.
Okay.
Santa Anna had ordered the Mexicans to take no prisoners, and he was incensed that those orders had been ignored. He demanded the immediate execution of the survivors, but Castrillon and several other officers refused to do so. Staff officers who had not participated in the fighting drew their swords and killed the unarmed Texans. Santa Anna ordered his men to take all of the dead defenders' bodies to a nearby stand of trees, where they were all stacked together and wood piled on top. And that evening they lit a fire and burned their bodies to ashes.
Okay.
This is where we start getting into the mystery of it.
Okay. So lay it on me.
All right. Weeks after the battle, stories began to circulate that Crockett was among those who surrendered and were executed. And that kind of, hurt a lot of people's feelings. Because basically they were going off the story of this one African-American slave named Ben, who had acted as a cook for one of Santa Anna's officers.
Right.
And he maintained that Crockett's body was found in the barracks surrounded by no less than 16 Mexican corpses, with Crockett's knife buried in one of them. And everyone was like, yes, that is the way a true hero should have gone out.
I do remember that story.
You do?
Yeah, for some reason that one lodged itself in my brain about him killing a bunch of the enemy and going out in a glaze of glory. Man,
a glaze of glory.
I can't say that phrase. Every time I have to say that on the podcast, I say glaze. Anyway, going out in a blaze of glory.
Now I just want a donut.
Okay, yep.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Okay.
I promise I'll get back on track. All right. Yet, in 1955, Jesus Sanchez Garza discovered the memoirs of José Enrique de la Peña, a Mexican officer who was present at the Battle of the Alamo, and self-published it as La Rebelión de Texas, or Tejas. I forget how you pronounce Texas without the J in Spanish. Manuscrito inédito de 1836 por un oficial de Santa Ana. Texas A&M University Press published the English translation in 1975 with Santa Ana in Texas, a personal narrative of the Revolution. And that started a scandal in the United States, as it asserted that Crockett did not die in battle. De la Peña asserted that Crockett had been wounded, and that he and the men with him surrendered. They were brought before Santa Ana, and the men begged for Crockett's life, if not their own. But Santa Ana said to give no quarter and had them killed, as I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The translator of the English publication, Carmen Perry, was harassed with anonymous letters and intimidating phone calls by Crockett loyalists who considered the mere suggestion that Crockett had not died fighting blasphemous. And upon further investigation into historical documents, however, the written testimony by more than a half-dozen eyewitnesses seemed to confirm De La Peña's account.
Okay.
So, this is like a river. It's got a whole lot of like branching paths going off of it.
Right.
And so, this is the part that sort of twigged in my brain because I barely remembered it. But it's also the more mysterious mystery part. Because see, the History Channel, we all know the History Channel nowadays, released an episode of America Unearthed called Lost Secrets of the Alamo Revealed, where they posited that Davy Crockett actually did surrender, as said through the La Peña account, but he survived that because he was a Freemason, as was General Santa Ana.
So, oh man, I was so hoping you were going to be like, they posited that he did surrender, but the entire war was fought against aliens.
It's not.
And Davy Crockett was an alien from a different race.
Knowing the History Planet.
The History Planet.
Knowing the History Channel, that's not that far off base. That is the content they like to release nowadays.
And then more aliens came in and drew the Nazca lines and built the pyramids. But in the past, they were Time Lords. What is happening? History Channel, get your shit together.
Aliens. Oh, jeez. But yeah, no, the History Channel for like this thing.
Davy Crockett single-handedly fought off an alien invasion from the planet Yarbglorb.
Okay.
I think you laughed so hard that it broke Discord for a second, because there was a couple of seconds where I couldn't hear you at all.
I think that happened, yeah. Oh, jeez. But yeah, no, the History Channel actually kept its nose out of the cocaine with this one. And they were, like, fairly, like, reasonable about it. And they brought actual evidence to the fore.
Okay.
Because one of the things that turned them onto the idea of Freemasonry is that on the memorial plaque honoring the famous men who died at the Alamo, there is a Freemason symbol in plain view above their names. And in the keystone still sitting in the doorway of the Alamo left in San Antonio today, there's a stylized AVM that stands for Ave Maria that was used by both the Freemasons and the Templars, as per my theory last episode.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Now I just want to listen to that for some reason. Anyways.
If you're gonna listen to it, you have to listen to Sarah Brightman's version.
Okay, yeah, alright. I'll look up who that is after the episode.
Sarah Brightman was the one for whom
The Bell Tolls?
like the entire musical of Phantom of the Opera was written, because she was married to, like, she's a classically trained soprano opera singer, and she was married to Andrew Lloyd Webber when he wrote, or is it Andrew Lloyd Wright? No, Andrew Lloyd Wright's a fucking artist.
It's Webber.
She was married to Andrew Lloyd Webber when he wrote that.
Yeah.
And he wrote I can't remember her name, the part of the woman, he wrote it specifically for her.
That's pretty cool. Alright, but yeah, no, I'll definitely need to look that up. But anyways, furthermore, a Scottish Rite Freemason that the show spoke to claimed that Santa Anna was one of their members and showed them copies of his original membership certificate, Santa Anna's.
So a Mexican dude was a member of the Scottish Freemasons.
The Scottish Rite Freemasons, yeah.
Rite as in, like...
R-I-T-E.
Rite of the Isle? Oh, okay. I was like, hold on, I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know why Santa Anna would be part of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. I don't know what the divisions of the Freemasonries are. But that one guy was like, hey, I got the certificate. That's his signature right there. It's got the seal. There you go.
You want to check that and make sure it's accurate? You can't, because he's dead.
Honestly. And so what started off the whole show with claiming that Crockett actually lived was a family in Alabama said that they had a land deed, proving that Crockett lived out his days in Winston County, notably one of the few areas in the South that opposed the Confederacy during the American Civil War. The family had a land deed granted to David Crockett, one David Crockett, in 1959, over 20 years after the Alamo, signed by...
I'm going to assume you meant 1859, but you went into the 20th century again.
Back! In my notes it says 1959. I meant, yeah. Whoops. 1859. Why do I keep doing this to myself?
In 1959, just 20 years after the Alamo. Give or take 100 years.
I was very tired by this point. But it was signed by then-President James Buchanan, and it also had the presidential seal in old wax. They also had an affidavit for settlement and cultivation with Crockett's signature, settled in Huntsville, Alabama, as well as a clipping from a newspaper article printed in the Cincinnati Whig, a newspaper, in April 1836, just a month after the final assault on the Alamo, claiming that Crockett wasn't dead yet and had been moved to a location where his wounds were dressed and cared for, and that they hoped for his recovery.
So this is 20 years after the Alamo. There's documentation that he's still alive, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they had a land deed with someone who signed as David Crockett.
Okay.
Yeah, and it had the presidential seal on it, so.
Okay.
They're thinking, that's pretty official. And they also claimed that David Crockett had died on his land, their land now, and had been buried there. They had found old human bones, as was identified by the local university scholars, and they reinterred the body onto their property.
Okay.
So that's their evidence for claiming that he had been alive at that time, and there was a little bit of a conflict with comparing actual David Crockett's signature as obtained from a living descendant and the signature that was on the paperwork, but it was pretty close. It was pretty similar, and there could be a difference in how you sign things after 20 years, you know?
Right.
Essentially, they took that, and they took the sort of evidence that they had, thinking that David Crockett and Santa Anna were both Freemasons, and the theory that they posited goes as this. After David Crockett's men get killed, as per Santa Anna's orders, he gives the Masonic sign of distress. And the rule of the Masonic sign of distress is it identifies you as part of the Brotherhood, and you are saying, I surrender to you completely. It is essentially, don't kill me, we're brothers, our bond goes deeper than nationality. You can do whatever you want to me, just let me go. And Santa Anna respected that. And they claimed that because Santa Anna reportedly did the same thing at the Battle of San Jacinto when he was captured. He gave the Masonic sign of distress, and Sam Houston, who was also a Freemason, allowed him to live despite the fact that he was so hated.
Okay, I see where they're coming from.
Yeah. So those are the three theories. David Crockett died a hero, fighting to his last breath. David Crockett died sort of a coward, begging for his life, and then was executed after surrendering. Or David Crockett's a Freemason, and he was allowed to live out the rest of his days in secrecy and isolation.
Okay. So, is that all you got? Because I got a...
Yeah, that's...
I got a doozy here.
Okay. Those are the theories that I bring forth to the table for discussion. What is your theory after having heard all that?
Okay, so where did he supposedly die on his land? Where was his land at?
It was... Allow me to pull out the notes. It was in Winston County, Alabama.
Oh, God, that is so far from where I was gonna... I was thinking you said somewhere in Texas.
Nope. Alabama.
Okay, let's find out.
Apparently, it was right near a lot of native... either a native reservation or a bunch of Native Americans lived in the area, specifically Creek, I think.
Okay, so here's my theory.
Okay.
It's a mixture of all three.
Interesting.
So he gives the Freemason sign,
which
I'm currently making devil horns for some reason.
Go figure.
Apparently that's the Freemason sign.
Passed down from the Knights Templar. You put devil horns on your head and it's like, I surrender to you, the devil. I don't know.
Oh, God. Have you heard about all this controversy with the newest Lil Nas X song?
I have heard a little bit about it. Apparently he made satanic shoes.
Oh, there's more than that.
What?
It started because the new music video, like, he is an openly gay rapper.
Yeah.
And it started because this music video for Call My Name or Call Your Name or Say Your Name. I can't remember what it's called.
Some variation.
Montero, actually, is I think what it's called. Anyway, he basically, in the music video, falls from heaven on a stripper pole wearing nothing but, like, boxer briefs, a bandana, and thigh-high boots.
I appreciate this already.
And then gives a lap dance to Satan. And, like, the song is actually pretty fucking lit. Like, I'm not a huge fan of his music, but it's pretty fucking lit.
Right.
And the Christians went fucking insane over this.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
And, like, all these people are like, hold on, you keep telling gay people that they're gonna go to hell, and then when one actually does, you throw a bigger fit?
Apparently, yeah.
But, like, what's funny to me about it is that if the Christians had just not given a fuck, I wouldn't have even, like, all they're doing is giving him free publicity because I wouldn't have even known about it. I never would have known this song existed if this hadn't happened.
Yeah, no, they're giving him plenty of free publicity, and I think he's banking on it, quite literally.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching some of his TikToks, and, like, he's loving the attention. Anyway, okay.
Bless his heart. I love it.
So, I don't know how we got there. Oh, the devil horns.
Yeah.
So, Jesus. So, he gives the sign of the Freemasons, which I'm still doing devil horns for some reason.
Go figure.
And Santa Anna is like, is it Santa Anna, right?
Yeah, General Santa Anna.
Okay. Santa Anna is like, oh, don't kill that guy. He's my cousin. Because you can't tell him that they're Freemasons. He's just, that guy's my cousin.
Yeah. Secret.
So he they have a bro moment, and he releases him, and he goes to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Why to go to Alabama? Well, because it was far enough away that people wouldn't recognize him there.
Yeah.
So he's on this like land that he was given in Alabama, and he got into another spot of trouble. Like somebody recognized him. He's like, oh, I gotta disappear again, but this time I'm gonna do it for good. So he heads for Mobile, Alabama, where who should be at port? John fucking McCracken.
Oh my god. Dun dun dun
John
dun 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 dun.
John McCracken, like he keeps up with like I love that he died. Like he recently died. Like he obviously wasn't alive back then, but he's
Jesus immortal.
Christ. John McCracken has heard of Davy Crockett, and he's like, dude, I gotta get this guy on my crew. So he gets him on his crew, where they run afoul of I don't know British privateers or something, and that's where Davy Crockett fought to his last breath. He was captured by British privateers and fought to his last breath. And then McCracken, upon hearing about this, sank the privateer ship because he was like, no! My friend Davy Crockett!
How could you? How dare you? Oh, turn in that black skull and crossbones for a red one.
And yeah, that's what happened.
All right, that's an interesting theory right there. I will take that.
And somewhere in Winston County, he met the fucking mope. No, I'm kidding.
We're not gonna go too far past the boot barn with this one.
I love how every time you present, I just go off on the craziest fucking story.
I appreciate it so much.
And then usually you're just like something fairly tame, like kind of out there, but like
it could have reasonably happened.
Died in Alabama when he got into a sword fight with a dude who didn't like him. I don't know.
Because, I mean, he definitely could have died in Alabama if we're positing that he actually was a Freemason and survived. Then, like, he could have... Like, he was a big friend to Native Americans. Maybe there was, like, some sort of extra removal thing going on, and he's just like, nope, not gonna take that shit, and goes hog wild on their ass and then gets got. Like Houdini, asking someone to punch him in the stomach, and he'll survive it, and then he didn't tense his stomach muscles and wasn't expecting it, and then he got, and then he was like, bleh. Organs.
That was, it was a very succinct retelling of Houdini's death.
I think about it sometimes, and I'm just sad.
Very, very accurate. A lot of very technical terminology in there, like bleh. But no. The reason that there are documents that he died in Alabama is because he had to fake his death again to get away from whoever recognized him or whoever was trying to kill him.
Yeah, seriously. Or here's another thing. What if he went to Texas specifically with the idea of faking his death? Because he had ample opportunity to plan beforehand. Like, he brought along 30 co-conspirators.
Is that what you're saying happened?
Maybe. Now I'm starting to get on this theory because he had that opportunity, you know, that night on the 3rd before the 6th, where he and two other men left the Alamo specifically so they could go see if they had reinforcements, and then they brought the reinforcements in. But what if Crockett never actually returned? He just had a body double, you know? And the body double went back in and was like, yeah, I'm David Crockett. I can hold this up for a while. And he just left. He was just going out and he's like, nope, not part of this anymore. I have too many debts. I am known by too many people back in the East. I'm no longer in love with my wife and child, I guess. Which is kind of like a bastard move. But he had opportunity.
I don't like them anymore.
I mean, it was something that happened a lot during, like, those centuries before people had the ability to track other people with, like, cell phones and everything. It's like, yeah, honey, I'm just gonna go get milk from the store. Never returns. Ever. And the next thing you know, he's off in another state with another name and he's got, like, another wife and children.
Yeah.
These things happen.
I mean, I still think that he died on the sea serving Captain, I almost said Jack Sparrow, Captain John McCracken. Boy, this theory just really keeps changing. First it was John McCracken, and then he changed sides and he was working for Jack Sparrow. And...
I mean, he travels, he gets around there. He's just like hopping from ship to ship depending on where the wind is sailing.
He gets around there, don't you know?
He gets around there, don't you know? Yeah. Alright, so is that what we're going with? Are those the theories that we have in our heads this day?
Sure. So is that your theory then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is that what you're going with?
I guess so. Like, okay. Personally, I do really like the theory that he was a Mason. Just because I'm just like, ha, spicy. But yeah, I mean... he could have just dipped. There was opportunity there.
Oh, we're not arguing that he wasn't a Mason. He was a Mason.
Either way the wind blows, he was a Mason.
Okay, well, I think we solved another one. We might be a little bit at odds on where and how he died. Mm-hmm. But he was definitely a Mason, definitely faked his death.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, a person who's like, I am larger than life, and then suffered the worst defeat of his career, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the woods now. Thanks, bye. You guys can go to hell and I'll go to Texas, which is also a different kind of hell. Congratulations, we're all dying.
Anyway, we've definitely solved another mystery. If you would like to hear a mystery of your choosing solved right here on the podcast, you can send us an email to Unsolved Mysteries. Nope, that's not what it is. It's mysteriessolvedpodcast@gmail.com.
Woohoo! Letters and words combined to make sounds.
We also have, as usual, the Twitter @UMS_podcast. We have the Facebook it's the name of the show. It's the
Unsolved Mysteries Solved!
We also have the Facebook @Unsolved Mysteries Solved. We've got the Facebook group, the Discord server, so you got the Patreon going on.
All that good fun stuff. Could you please become patrons of our show? We would dearly love it if you patronized us.
Which there will be a new, not this coming Tuesday,
but next
but the
Tuesday.
one after. Yeah, there will be a new bonus episode.
And
we also recently started a TikTok for the podcast.
Yeah.
And that is just @Unsolved Mysteries Solved. If you want to follow us on there, you
can see our faces.
Just posted a video today.
Yeah.
You get to see what we look like.
That's exciting.
Other than that, go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating and a glowing review. Tell everybody you know about the podcast.
Dog, your cat, your horse named Sugar.
Here's the thing. If you don't tell everybody that you know to listen to us, we're definitely going to have to send our dads to beat up your dads. And that's going to be really embarrassing for you because one of our dads has been dead for 3 years.
And mine's, he's 75.
Didn't realize your dad was that old.
He's so old. He's so old. Oh, bless his heart.
But regardless, we'll see you right back here next week for a brand new mystery. And in the meantime, between time, don't question us or you will be put down.
Mercilessly. And mirthlessly. With fun.
Those are words you just said. And I guess, unless you have anything else, Cass.
No, not yet. I finished a thing, but it's not published yet. So,
Right.
Future.
Right. Oh, I guess also if you want to follow me personally, I'm @Minibearden, MINIBEARDEN, and Cass is @TheGameCatcher.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us on TikTok. Whatever, this is going on way too long, so say goodbye, Cass.
Goodbye. We'll see you on the TikToks. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Fucking mole people.
Hey listeners, if you're tuning into this show, 1, you have good taste, and 2, you might enjoy another show that we host called Death by Champagne, the podcast here to keep you up at night. I'm Mackenzie.
And I'm Olivia.
We have topics in all realms. From the reality of true crime to the depths of the occult, we have dozens of episodes to binge that range from hair-raising scares to infuriating miscarriages of justice.
We've covered everything from the origins of Satan to the crimes of an unidentified serial killer in our hometown of St. Louis. Other episodes include tales of unsolved mysteries, murder investigations, disappearances, cold cases, hauntings, folklore, and people in history that are stranger than fiction.
In Season 3, you can join us for a true crime book club, giving in-depth coverage on cases living in the darkest corners of our bookshelves. Our first multi-part series is on the crimes of Gary Ridgway, focusing on his family, victims, and survivors.
So grab your cat keychain, surround yourself in a salt circle, lock your doors, and unlock that phone.
Hail Satan!
And pop some bottles.